What up, watch peeps? I'm sure many of you have heard of Cincy Strap Co. If you have not, go check them out. They're one of the favorite strap suppliers among all the watch peeps. And the owner, Zach, is one of the most solid watch peeps of all. I first ran into Zach years ago in the BSH thread on Watch You Seek. The BSH is the Brotherhood of Submariner Homages, one of the longest running threads on Watch You Seek, and just a really cool group of guys that are into sub homages. Now Zach has branched out from straps and now has a watch coming out. Now, my favorite watch of all time is probably the Tudor Snowflake Submariner, the blue one, the 9401, just near perfection. But a close second is the Triangles dial 79090. Anytime someone recreates one of these watches, I get pretty excited about it. And that's what Zach has done. Now, the watch I have in is a prototype that's in on loan, so we'll be moving on to another reviewer. Before we get started, if you enjoy the channel, subscribing is a huge help and always much appreciated. All right, let's get to it. I'm Pete, and we are Chillin' with Watches. All right, guys, first things first, wrist check. Check this bad boy out. I just built this. I think it's a Moki case. Most of the parts are Moki Strap Co bracelet, but that dial is that Lucius Atelier limited edition kind of, I don't know what you call it, scratched up dial, but I just thought it really worked well with that root beer bezel. Super cool. What we're looking at today is the Nereus Santiago. So I know what you guys want to know. What them specs, yo? So let's take a look at those while I tell you about the release date and initial pricing. So these are going to go live on Kickstarter on September 18th. So just a few days with an initial price of $399. Which includes a bracelet and either a watch roll or a travel case. I think they weren't sure which yet. And you will get 2 additional straps from Cincy Strap Co. All right, let's take a look. Now, this is an homage to the 79090 that I mentioned earlier. I called it the Triangles dial. And anytime one of these comes out, like I said, I get pretty excited about it. It's just a cool looking watch. It's a proven formula. And if you hit the design points just right, you have a winner in my book. The dial layout, like you said, you have triangles at the cardinal points. I think there is a no-date version. Profile, the handset is similar to Mercedes minus the Mercedes symbol, just kind of like a bubble hour hand, which is what they used in the 79090. The case profile on this is a pretty standard sub-style case, but when well done, again, it's just a winning formula. You'll see it has polished case sides with drilled lugs, brushed on top of the lugs, and if you look closely, you'll see that I believe they are straight brushed, so it will match up with the brushing on the bracelet, which is always a win in my handbook. And let's see, take a look at the case back. This strap it's on, by the way, is really nice. 200 meters, water resistant automatic, 316L, and the model is the Santiago, and you get Nereus and their logo, which is also on their signed crown. So that's a little smudgy, you know how polished case sides get. It has a sapphire crystal with a very slight dome, which I gotta tell you is my favorite. And if you look, you'll see it's just super flush with that slightly angled bezel insert. Everything on this watch is put together really well. Everything lines up really well. Just solidly built, good grip on everything, really easy to use. Now the bezel on this one is the 12-hour, but this will be available with both a 12-hour or a dive time bezel. Which I'd probably go for the dive time bezel just because it's more historically accurate. And honestly, I never have a need to track a second time zone, but I know a lot of people like these dual time bezels. It's just an aluminum bezel with a loomed pip. And the action, they are 120 click, and just listen to how snappy that is. I'm going to guess, based on this feel and my vast experience of watches, that is using a wire for the click, which when cut right is super precise and has no wobble, no backplay in it. So if you get that wire click mechanism done right, it is money. Now, the one I got it here on a strap. because they are redoing the bracelet that I think was originally on these prototypes. And it sounds like what's coming out for that bracelet is going to be a win. The bracelet is going to have solid female end links, my man. And it will have screw links and a milled clasp and taper from 20 to 18. So just about everything I want in a bracelet. No complaints there. So if we're checking out the crown grip, it's a coin edge crown. Very easy to use. Showed you before, it is a signed crown with that Nereus logo, which is similar to the Trident. Get a decent pop when it disengages. Actually feels very smooth. This is a Miyota 9015 movement, which can sometimes feel gritty, but this actually feels quite smooth winding it up. Very easy to feel both time and date setting positions. Now, one other change. I think, does that have a silver date wheel? No, I think it's white. But one other change between this prototype and the production model is that the production will have a roulette date wheel. I mean, come on. He's just giving me everything that I like in these kinds of watches. So yeah, real easy to manipulate, real easy to operate. Same thing with both the crown and the bezel. The grip on both is fantastic. Really easy to re-engage the crown threads. No problems. The case size, it's a standard 40mm sub case. It's the original sub case that everybody loves, right? It's hard to complain about that. Now it's a 40mm case, and you see 40.9. That is the slight overhang of the bezel, which makes it easier to operate. The grip on the bezel is the standard Submariner grip. Now, why'd I do that? I gotta go all the way back around because I don't want to drive the OCD guys crazy. The lug to lug on this guy is 48.4 or 5. Perfectly wearable. And let's see if I can check the thickness. I should have left it off the strap. Thickness is coming in on this one including the domed sapphire crystal, 12.1 millimeters. Now it does have 20mm lugs. Like I said, that bracelet will taper from 20 down to 18. Likes and dislikes. One of my favorite things about this is the color blue. I said it before, but they nailed it. I love a matte blue dial. Perfectly matching bezel insert. And I don't know if this is the exact strap you will get with this model, but it also matches the strap really well. I don't have it on here, but on the production model, the roulette date wheel, again, one of my favorites. A very slightly domed sapphire crystal that sits real flush with the bezel insert is another something that I always look for. Solid female end links on the bracelet, check. Taper to the bracelet, check. And it's just really well finished. I mean, especially for a prototype. There's no wobble in this bezel laterally, vertically at all. It's really tight, and I love the sound, how snappy the clicks are. It's easy to grip. The crown's easy to grip. Drilled lugs. And dislikes, it's really hard to come up with any complaints with this watch. There's nothing not to like here unless you take umbrage with the fact that it's a derivative design, which is fine, but that kind of is the whole point here of this watch, being an homage. And you can't deny it's a tried and true formula. I'm going to pop it on that MN strap again. So here it is on my 7¼ inch wrist, and as you can see, wears like a dream. Any 40mm sub-style watch is going to fit a wide variety of wrist sizes and wear well no matter what. Now, this blue Tudor-esque sub on a green and yellow Marine Nationale strap is just one of my favorite classic looks. I know the colors might clash a little bit, but I think that's historically how they may have worn them, and yeah, I just love the way it looks. Let's take a look at it on the time grapher. So it's running at about plus 14, which may be a little fast. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that it's a prototype, hasn't been regulated, unadjusted, etc. I don't know. I don't mind. I'm not an accuracy freak, but again, it has a really healthy amplitude and minimal beat error. Running just fine for me. Real clean trace, which is nice to see. All right, let's take a look at it side by side some other watches. First up, as always, the SKX 42mm diver. And you can see, I mean, this is why the SKX wears kind of small. It has that small dial opening, which I think makes it wear smaller than its size. Reasonable comparison to this watch, but as you can see, it's a thicker watch, the SKX is. And another 40 that I have here is the Zelos. This is the 40mm Swordfish. I know I've been comparing with the same watches here for a little while. I have to bring some fresh ones down here to the studio. And I think these wear pretty similarly. The Nereus is slightly thinner using that Miyota movement. Well, here it is next to the mod I just built, which should wear just like an SKX pretty much. It is that 3 o'clock crown guard case, but pretty much the same effect as an SKX. Something bigger like a turtle, 44mm. Again, you can see no matter what you put this next to, it just maintains a reasonable size, and I think that translates to how it wears on wrist. Now, let's see the other thing everybody else wants to.
Peep the Lume.
And there it is. As you can see, that is BGW9 and an extremely healthy application. Being a prototype especially, if this amount of lume translates to the production model, I'll be totally cool with that. Nice, cool blue color. As you can see, it's maintaining focus because it is that bright. And I actually have some decent light pouring in here today. All right, let's flip the camera back around and wrap this thing up. So there it is, guys. The Nereus Santiago coming to Kickstarter on 9/18. I really like this thing, and it's such an easy wear. I might have to pick one of these up. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Before I let you go, sneaker check. Jordan 4s again. It's been on kind of a Jordan 4 kick, man. I want to add another color of Jordan 4s to the rotation, but I also need a pair of Jordan 5s, so we'll see. All right, that's it. I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.